No more, it's none of my business.
No more, I'm sure they'll work it out.
No more, boys will be boys.
No more, I'll say something next time.
No more, why didn't she tell anyone?
No more, she was flirting with him.
No more, she's too smart to let that happen.
No more, not my problem.
No more, he didn't mean it.
No more, why doesn't she just leave?
No more, he said he was sorry.
No more, she was drunk.
No more, she was asking for it.
No more, she seems just fine to me. No more, she should have been more careful.
No more, we don't talk about that.
No more bystanding.
No more ignorance.
No more excuses.
No more.
No more.
No more.
There it is, part of a public service awareness campaign from No More, a group dedicated to taking domestic violence, sexual assault, and abuse and pulling it out of the shadows, shining the light on it, and encouraging everybody, men, women, children, to play a part in trying to prevent it. So you may see that on the airwaves over the course of this Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and we're going to do our part to shine the light on it as well. Susan Selden is the executive director of the Cumbee Center, and Susan's no stranger to the Means Report. We're glad you're back, and we appreciate what you do for everyone, especially the victims.
Thank you.
Are you having a busy month? What are you all doing to help people become more aware? I know that it's probably nonstop.
It is a very busy month. April is one of our busiest months. We start by hanging teal ribbons in the towns that we serve.
Teal is the color.
Teal is the nationally recognized color for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I actually have my toenails painted teal, but I'm not going to show that to everybody.
All right. And I see your teal ribbon there now. Very nice.
Yes. And we also have Walk a Mile events, Walk a Mile in Her Shoes, which showcases men being willing to wear high heel shoes, just to give them an understanding of what women, because women are typically our most populated victims, and just to give them an understanding of what it's like to be a victim and what it's like to be a woman. And it helps us to just admire their courage too, not only to wear those red high heels, but just to join with us in making our community safer.
Well, we think of rape a lot when we think of sexual assault. Sometimes we use those terms interchangeably on our newscasts. What else is considered sexual assault?
Sexual assault is any type of unwanted touch or any type of unwanted contact. And it can start with as little as sexual harassment and build up to, as we said, rape.
You mentioned women are you find the highest numbers in that gender group.
Right.
Who's at risk for sexual assault?
Anybody is at risk. The national statistics show us that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys, 1 in 5 women will be victims of sexual assault. Also, 1 in 71 men will be a victim of sexual assault.
You know, when you look at the male side of things, whether it's boys or men, are we talking about sexual assault, especially with just in general when it comes to sexual assault in males, do we see that happening mostly to younger males?
Probably so, younger males.
And can they get help at the Cumbee Center? We always think of that as a resource for women.
Yes, they can. We serve all victims of all genders, all sexual orientations, all nationalities, races, whoever wants to come. Unfortunately, we cannot have men stay in our shelter, but we can find other safe places for them to stay.
A pretty startling statistic, about 68% of all rapes go unreported. Why?
It's just very embarrassing, I think, for people to report those rapes. Also, we know that many of the rape kits are never tested. So when they know that the odds are stacked against them, it's hard for them to want to come forward.
Yeah, that's made national headlines,
Right.
This backlog of rape kits that are sitting there. Have you seen any improvement in that area? And what do you have to say about the fact that those cases, which could be the key to breaking open a lot of these criminal cases, are just sitting there?
I'm very shocked and appalled at that.
Yeah.
And that's something I would like for our areas to improve on, is getting those rape kits tested, because that is evidence for a case. And I know our solicitors need more evidence. They also need victims to have the courage to come forward and be willing to testify. But that's very scary for those victims.
Sometimes, speaking of headlines, we see that convicted sex offenders get off with very, very light sentences. Some would say slaps on the wrist. I want to get your thoughts on that, and I want to get any advice you can give us on how we could encourage those in the legal system to step it up a notch.
Well, they do need to step it up a notch, because it's usually a he said, she said. Our culture is full of victim blaming. What other crime do you have where you have the victim treated like, well, it must have been your fault because you were drinking, or it was your fault because of the way you were dressed, or you were in the wrong place at the wrong time? We don't treat victims like that in any other crimes.
Do we look for these? I guess I can answer my own question and say that's probably something we should put to judicial candidates. You know, if they're running for office or if their leaders are considering appointing these judges, find out where they stand on sexual assault and the punishments, right?
I would love for that to happen.
Well, I think it needs to be asked for sure. Back to the sex offenders themselves. What does one look like? Who are they?
Well, we hate to, as victims advocates, we hate to say they're monsters because they look like ordinary people. They could be anybody. They could be family members. They could be acquaintances. In fact, we know that most people who are assaulted by someone they know, or even a family member or a friend.
So it really could be just about anybody.
It could just be any typical person on the street.
All right. I need advice, Susan, for parents out there and caregivers, people who have young people in their lives. I know a lot of you watching have kids going off to college if they're not already there, and really even younger than college, high school, junior high school. What do we say to them to A, help them from becoming victims, and B, make sure they're never going to be offenders? How do we talk to them?
Well, I think for our very young kids, we start giving them the information at appropriate levels for their age of protecting themselves, but knowing what healthy touches are. And also we need to know who our children are with at all times. And as I said, it could be a family member. So we need to be very careful who we leave children with, whether it's in a daycare or with a family member. But also we need prevention education in schools for sexual assault, domestic violence, all of those kinds of violence prevention education. Our kids need to know what healthy relationships look like. And they need to know that they can respect themselves and that both genders have to respect each other.
And always best to model those healthy relationships in the home.
Yes.
What about self-defense classes? Where do you stand on that? Is it a good idea? Is it a good investment?
It's a good idea if that's something you choose to do, but I would like to see more of emphasis placed on people stopping the rapist instead of leaving it up to the victims to learn to protect themselves. Because if you're drunk or if you're in a situation where you can't protect yourself, we don't want the victim to blame herself or himself because she wasn't quite strong enough.
If we sense that a friend or a coworker or a loved one is in danger, is being assaulted or abused, two-part question. First, how can we tell? Are there warning signs or symptoms? Second of all, what do we do to intervene?
I think with children you can tell there's certainly signs for young children. There may be bedwetting, they may be speaking in sexualized language or using hypersexualized behavior that is way beyond their years. And that's a definite sign that something may be going on that we need to look into. But for people your age or my age, victims look like anybody else and they may be hiding it very well, and it's very hard to tell.
Do we secretly call you on their behalf and then you let the authorities take over from there? Because sometimes people will, go back to the rape cases being unreported issue that we discussed, people will want to stay silent. So I guess the question is, what is our role if they're trying to resist our help?
If they're an adult, they have the choice, and we have to let them have that choice. We can encourage them to come forward and tell them all the good reasons that they should, and hope that the culture will change where victims are encouraged to come forward and know that their case will be taken seriously in court.
What happens to a woman when she picks up the phone and calls the Cumbee Center? Take us through that initial process. It's the middle of the night, they've reached rock bottom, and they call you.
They're going to reach a very compassionate advocate who will listen to them, who will not judge them, and most importantly, who will believe them. And sometimes they haven't had anybody else believe them at this point. So they'll be believed, and we will do an assessment of what their needs are. If they need counseling, if they're not safe at that moment, we're going to make sure they're safe. And we're going to find out what services they need to have provided for them and begin to help them get those services and those referrals that they need.
How long does it take before they can get back to a normal life, before you all release them from your system and let them go just be healthy, happy women again?
That could take from a couple of months to a couple of years, depending on, a lot of times when people come in, we find they've had prior incidences too, maybe even childhood incidences that are triggered by a new sexual assault.
Susan, what have you seen over the years at the Cumbee Center? The caseloads increasing or decreasing? And tell me why you think it's happening.
Well, I've only been there 2 years, and I've seen an increase in caseload. And I'm thinking that it's not just because things are worse. I'm hoping it's because of our awareness efforts that more people are willing to come in and find that there is resources available.
Well, what can people do to help you? How can we help the Cumbee Center be a success and make sure you reach as many people as possible?
To be willing to have those discussions. I know a lot of people cringe when they hear the word sexual assault. They don't want to talk about it, but we have to have these discussions to be able to solve the issues. So just opening up discussions and being willing to have your faith groups and your agencies and any kind of group or club you're part of, be willing to have these discussions and be supportive of agencies like ours.
Well, I certainly hope that our viewers will. I know that many of you are well aware of the good work that the Cumbee Center does on the Aiken side of the Savannah and the Safe Homes team does on the Augusta side, and really you all stretch out into so many counties and help so many folks. Take a look at the information for you to reach out to the Cumbee Center, either for information or for assistance. Anytime you can call 803-649-0480 and they'll accept your collect calls too, or just log on to cumbeecenter.org. Do not wait to get the help you need and do not wait to support the Cumbee Center. Susan Selden, thank you for your leadership there and thanks for being with us today. We appreciate it so much.